Welcome to Midlife Moves, where we're figuring out this whole midlife thing one day, one workout, and one what the hell just happened moment at a time. I'm Heather, and if you're navigating career shifts, fitness goals, parenting teenagers, or just wondering when the hell we became the grown-ups, you're in the right place. Let's talk about the real stuff, no filters, just honest conversations and a little bit of chaos. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Heather Francis, and welcome to another episode of Midlife Moves. If you follow me on Instagram, maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. Maybe a month ago, it was like the end of June. It's August 6th now. The end of June, I got on there one Monday morning. I was going for my walk and I was like, I'm really unhappy with the amount that I'm drinking. Not that I was drinking a lot. I was just drinking too much for my liking. So I had gotten in the habit of having a glass every night while I made dinner. And then one glass would turn into two glasses. And then I would pour light. So maybe I would have even pour a little bit more and be like, oh, this wasn't a full glass. So technically I only had a glass and a half. So I can just it was getting out of hand and I was doing it every day. And I was noticing things in my body. I wasn't really sleeping well. I was really bloated. Honestly, in my workouts, I saw, I just felt really inflamed and icky. And I just didn't feel good. But then it was also the mental aspect of it. I started watching the clock and I was like, is it almost cooking time? It's 3:30. I can start cooking at 4 because I was just gearing up for that glass of wine. And then we would go out and I would have a glass, right? I would have a glass with dinner. And then it accelerated to okay, I'm having 2 glasses with dinner. And and again, I explained it away because my husband would have a couple sips. And so I was like, well, it's not technically a full glass. I didn't have a full glass because he had some. So I would order another glass. Anyway, I constantly had a headache. I just felt like shit all the time. So I decided that I wanted to do something about it. And that's what I did. So I got on Instagram and I said, I'm tired of feeling this way. So I'm going to change things. And initially my plan was to stop drinking at home. I was only going to have a drink if I was not at home, if I was out and about, if I was out at dinner or something. And so that's what I initially did. So my husband was like, all right, cool. I'll do the same thing with you. So we had open bottles and we just let them sit there and we both stopped drinking at home. And then we went out to dinner one night and I got a couple nights without any wine. And then I woke up in the next mornings and I was like, oh, this actually, this feels pretty good. I like this. And I was able to read my book at night. So we started going out to dinner and eventually, very quickly, actually, it evolved to not just me not drinking at home, but me also not drinking out at dinner. And there was one night, because we go to a regular restaurant, she brings me my regular order. She was like, all right, I know what you guys want. And she just puts in my cab order right away. She comes out with the cab and I didn't even finish the glass. I was like, I just don't really want this. The payoff for me, when I realized what a problem it had become, and not that problem in the sense that it was seriously affecting my life. So I won't drive. I won't get behind the wheel of a car once I start drinking. We had a night that my son called. He had a transportation issue. He was supposed to have a ride home and he just the ride fell through. It was a series of unfortunate events. And so I had to go get him and I was able to go get him. We have a bunch of drivers in my house. So it's not like there was ever a time that we would struggle for rides home for someone. But it was really nice for him to be like, hey, I need you to come grab me. And I didn't have to get one of the kids to do it or Michael. And not that I would ever get drunk. I just would not, if I had a glass of wine, I'm not getting back behind the wheel that night. That's it for me. So I was able to go get him. And it's such a stupid thing. And honestly, it made me feel like a really shitty parent in that moment. But so we're doing something about it. Anyway, when this happened, when I get online, the first person I called was Heather Lowe. I sent her a message. I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. And she was like, I love this. And we talked about how we could partner up and how we could talk more about it. Admittedly, I didn't talk about it online a whole lot because it was very personal. It's also, how much do people want to hear me jump on here and be like, hey guys, I'm still not drinking. Or, hey guys, my mom came over last night and we did have a glass together. Because there was a couple nights that I did have a glass of wine. My mom would come over for dinner and we would just have a glass together. And honestly, I don't really like it anymore. I really like feeling better. I really like sleeping better. Honestly, that's the best. That is the biggest benefit for me. The sleep. My sleep is still shitty, but it was a whole lot better now. It's a whole lot better now than it was while I was drinking. And my under eye stuff is one of the things that I'm most self-conscious about. The dark circles are so much lighter now. They're so much lighter. Like just like the benefits of my skin. I called Heather Lowe from Ditch the Drink, and Heather and I were like, what can we do to talk about this a little bit more? Because I think that most women go through periods like this. I've talked pretty openly on past episodes about how my relationship with alcohol adjusts. I go through periods, I'll go years without drinking, and then I'll start drinking a little bit, and then it ultimately eventually winds up where I wound up this time, where it's just a little bit too much and it's a little bit out of control and I need to cut it back. And I'm in the cutback phase. And this may be permanent and it may not. And who knows? I'm not saying I'm never drinking again. I'm just saying like, this is what's working for me right now. This is how I feel good in my body. So Heather and I talk a lot about that. So we decided to do another episode together. So we talk a lot about that. We talk a lot about the benefits. I'm a big timeline girl. Like when I used to smoke years and years, decades ago, I smoked. And one of the ways that I quit smoking was I pulled up a timeline of the benefits of like how it affects you. So like the first hour that you don't have a cigarette, something happens. The first, 2 hours, the first day, the first week, like all of these benchmarks. So that as I got through these different benchmarks, I was like, okay, this is what's happening to my body. And that's how I was able to quit. So I'm a big timeline girl. That helps me move through hard things sometimes. So we talk a little bit about that. We talk about the benefits to not drinking. We also talk about what it's like with temptation, because for me, it was easy because I have headaches, and not having these headaches as substantially as I was having them, with the wine made it all worth it. That made it very easy. Like that was a very simple, like, you feel really good when you don't drink. Is it worth it to have that glass of wine? And a lot of times it's just, for me, it was not. So this hasn't been like, there was a couple times that it's been a little bit challenging. And I've had to fight it a little bit. Like if I have a stressful day, because also I'm doing this and there's like a million things going on in my life. Like we've got kids moving out. Like we had a wedding that, like we just got through. There's a lot, but there's always a lot happening, right? There's always a lot happening. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Here's my conversation with Heather Lowe. We talk about what it's like when we first stopped drinking. And as always, reach out if you have any questions. Let's get into it. Hey, listeners, it's Heather here with a quick message before we get into the rest of the episode. I have been blown away by the level of support from you guys. I love seeing how much the topics resonate with all of you and hearing how the episodes make you feel seen. I genuinely appreciate the outpouring of support from everyone. If you've been enjoying the show, there are a few ways you can continue to support the podcast and the team behind it. If you aren't already, follow us on Instagram at the Midlife Moves Podcast. For more behind-the-scenes info on the show and our guests, check out our website, midlifemoves.co. Reviews go a long way. I'd really appreciate a rating and a review on the podcast platform of your choice. And finally, check out the merch store. It's a fantastic way to rep the podcast and help support the team that makes these episodes possible. We've got some great designs for t-shirts and totes available there. Thank you all again so much, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Heather Lowe, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Heather. Heather squared.
Heather squared.
I love being here. I love you. I love your audience. I love your topics. I love this midlife business. Here we are. So I love conversation about that. Thanks for having me.
I have, explained to everybody that what happened, like I looked at what I was drinking and my habits around that. And I was not happy with them. And I decided to make a change. And so the first person I called was obviously you. And it just so happened Dry July was coming up within days. And so I just jumped in that with you. And thank you for hosting that and for being so wonderful with that. But what I thought we could talk about today was what happens when we first stop drinking, what that looks like. So when I quit smoking, the first thing I did was I looked at a timeline of like the benefits of quitting smoking. So like by the hour. So like the first hour that you don't have a cigarette, this is what happens. And then the first day and the first week and the first month. And I kind of did the same thing with drinking. And then, so let's talk about that. So let's just get into it. When we first stopped drinking, when we make that decision, let's just start out with the benefits.
Oh yeah. That's interesting. You want to start with the benefits? Because I was going to say, it's hard. It's really hard. And it doesn't feel good at first. Some of it doesn't feel good at first, right?
Yeah.
So And it depends on each person as individual and how much people drink and what they drink and how often and the frequency and for how long. It all varies. I've coached over 300 women. It varies, right? But it can feel like a real challenge in the beginning, and that can be the frustrating part because you might not be feeling the benefits that you eventually feel, right, at first. And as a drinker, you're used to some immediate gratification. And the first drink softens your brain and gives you a little letdown that feels pretty good, pretty fast. And it's kind of hard to replicate that immediately when you quit drinking. But your health there's no further harm. Alcohol is actually an addictive drug, and we don't talk about it that way. We like to protect it, but it is an addictive drug. So when you stop, you're immediately doing no more harm to your body.
So that's an excellent point, because I wasn't drinking a ton. We're talking about like a glass or two a night, but it was enough to affect my daily routine, and it was enough to affect my my health. Like I felt the cumulative effects of it. Yeah,
because it can take 10 days to get out of your system, even one glass, right? So I think that's the other thing to talk about is it's not heavy drinking. It's not just heavy drinking. It's well, and I'll actually tell you, the Center for Disease Control says 7 drinks a week is heavy drinking for women. That's 1 glass a day.
That's 1 glass a day. Yeah.
We don't consider that heavy drinking. I didn't.
No, yeah.
So also we don't consider that, but that's what they would say. Okay. But even if you're having 1 glass a day or less, even if you're less than a heavy drinker, let's say, alcohol affects every single system in your body. So it's a class 1 carcinogen, like tobacco, like asbestos. We don't talk about that. But it is. It has contributed to 7 different types of cancer, including breast cancer. So it affects your sleep. Immediately. It can help put you to sleep, but you're not getting the quality REM sleep. So it's also increases anxiety and increases depression. So it's bad for your mental health. And then that's sometimes the 3 a.m. wake up call is your body detoxing. And what originally felt like the good letdown with the first glass, your body is now making up for it by this feeling of anxiety. What did I say? What did I do? Did I drink too much? Sweating, nervousness, early morning wake up. So you're not getting the right sleep and the right rest. You're not at ease in your mind or your body, right? After drinking, even moderately or less. So sleep is something that people notice right away, typically, and I think you did too. And you said like the bags under your eyes had cleared, right? So your skin improves, your mood and your attitude can improve when you're, a lot of people report having more patience, and also sometimes not, because you're irritated because you're not having your glass of wine, right?
Yeah.
So all of it is normal, but there are immediate benefits from stopping. And because alcohol is a toxin in your body, when you consume it, everything else stops and it needs to get that out first. So any kind of healing or repair or immunity that your body was working on goes on pause to exit the alcohol first. So that's how it kind of stops your overall healing and well-being as well.
So that's fascinating. So if you're not feeling well already, if you've got something else going on, your body's like, this is secondary.
Yeah.
And it's just trying to expel the alcohol from your body.
Right, because it's a known toxin and carcinogen.
That's interesting. Well, and I remember when I talked to you one of the first times, you were like, well, it's going to take 10 days. Like you have to at least give it the first 10 days so that it gets out of your body and that, and then see how you feel. And I had no idea. I had no idea. Like I was just like, okay, well, the next day. God damn it, Heather. God. 10 days. Because I think at that point I was still saying when I go out, I'll have a glass.
Yeah.
And and that was like, I would go out to dinner twice a week. So I wasn't giving myself that space.
Well, so I love what you're doing, Heather, because here's the other thing. I think in our society, we think there's normal drinkers and then there's people that have a problem with alcohol. Like we have alcoholics or we have normal drinkers. And the truth is, I think almost everybody sits somewhere in the middle, right? If we consume alcohol at all, we have some sort of relationship to alcohol, and it's probably complicated, no matter where we are on that spectrum. And we're thinking about it, and I think there's very few people that just don't think about it at all. I think for most of us, we wrestle with, is this too much? What is this doing to me? Do I want to let go? Do I want to keep it? Do I want, what should I do with this?
I never really classified like the amount, and my husband would drink about the same amount. When I made the decision to stop doing this, he was like, well, if you're not going to drink, I'm not going to drink. And so he stopped. So we have bottles of wine. There's a case of wine sitting behind me that has gone untouched, which was actually helpful in my situation, because with him not drinking then, it's like, oh, well, nobody's opening a new bottle. There's no excuse to just have a glass. So that actually made it a lot easier.
Well, you wanted to talk about the benefits. So, okay, we've done that, right? Better sleep, clear skin, mood, attitude lifted, less depression, less anxiety, all of that stuff that can happen almost immediately or within 30 days. And also, I want to say it can take longer than that. So another thing that happens is I think 30 days is just hard because it's new to you. You feel like you're saying no. Nobody wants to be told no, or you're turning it down or you're leaving yourself out. You might be tucking in and not going out because you don't want the pressure of a white tablecloth at dinner and a steak. How would you not have wine with that?
Yeah, right.
So you might just be changing your social life for these 30 days or tucking in a little bit more or something like that to protect yourself and to get 30 days under your belt. And that might not feel good because nobody wants to lose a social life, or nobody wants to make dinner every single night of the week, right? So it can take longer. And the thing that happens is if you have been having alcohol often, like weekly even, or daily, even in small amounts, you've trained your body for that uptick. And you might be treating alcohol like a reward for the end of the day, a transition from work to home, a friend, a social life. You might be comparing it to like when I'm at a party or out to dinner, I have a drink and this is good. When I'm paying bills or going to the dentist, I don't have alcohol. So not having alcohol is bad and having alcohol is good because I want to be at the party and out to dinner, vacation. So you have all these associations too. And when you drink alcohol, it gives you an uptick in your mental health, let's say. If your baseline happiness set point is there, alcohol is going to raise it high every time. And it's going to flood your system with happy chemicals, right? It's going to make you feel really good. And everybody knows that first sip feeling, right? That big exhale, it feels great.
It does. Yeah,
we love that. It feels better than reading a book. It feels better than watching a movie. It might feel better than having sex. You can ask your dog, I'm not sure. But
he's still going back there.
But what happens is the more you drink over time, that happiness set point, it starts to lower. So it's giving you an uptick every time, but it's not bringing you even to your baseline happiness. So overall, you're getting sadder and sadder, but it's still bringing you up a little. So it's fool's gold, right? And then eventually, if you continue down a path of drinking, you build tolerance. You need more alcohol for the same uptick, right? And then what happens is watching a movie doesn't bring you pleasure. Reading a book doesn't bring you pleasure. Having sex doesn't bring you pleasure. Eating a great meal. Alcohol is the only thing that brings you pleasure.
Yeah.
And then that's scary because then you're not even in your real life. Nothing in your real life makes you happy. And we know, we've had children, we've seen a toddler walk down the street and get really excited about a piece of grass, right? Like that's our natural state of being. It's not buzzed up a little bit to feel something. We can insource all of that happiness. And when you outsource to alcohol, it just hijacks your system and takes over.
It does. It gets to a point where I would go out to dinner and it would be, if we didn't have a bottle of wine, I wouldn't want to go to a BYOB because I was like, well, I can't have a glass of wine with dinner then.
Yeah.
Like and my enjoyment of the meal
is the drink
dependent on having that glass of wine.
Exactly. Same was mine. So that's why it can be hard at first because it also feels like something's being taken away, right? But what happens over time is you lose the desire to drink because you start to feel better. Your anxiety lessens, your depression lessens, even in a mild form. I'm not even talking extreme, right? Just even like a mild hangover. It's like, why would you want to go with like a moderate headache all day? Like that doesn't feel good, even at a low level. So just the absence of that, waking up and feeling good, your happiness starts to return. You're in your happiness set point. So you start to take joy in your real life, but it's almost like one of those videos where a kid gets glasses for the first time and can see for the first time. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, everything is beautiful, amazing, miraculous.
Yeah.
Yes, you've just been dumbing yourself down with alcohol.
Yeah.
You just thought you needed alcohol for that dinner, but did you have the shrimp cocktail? Have you had the chocolate ganache at the end? Did you hear that music? And that waitress is so funny. And, this delicious drink is amazing. It doesn't need alcohol. And like, I'm having a lot of fun, and I'm going to have a safe ride home and a great night's sleep. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning and have another great day. There's no bad consequences.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of where I landed, because my initial plan was to just not drink at home, and I would have it. And I'm still not saying, like, I'm not saying that I'm never going to, my mom came over the weekend and I had a glass with her, but I felt like shit afterwards. I felt like shit emotionally, and I felt like shit because like I made this commitment to not drink. And then, so I felt like shit emotionally, but then I also felt like shit just because my body doesn't like it. Like I had the headache, sleep was really bad. I eat a lot. It's just like, I just like tortilla chips, like anything, like I'm just like my self-control goes out the window. I just don't like it. I just don't like how I feel. So what was, initially, I'm not going to drink at home, I'm only going to drink when I go out to dinner, turned into, even when we go out, I don't have anything because I don't like the way it feels. Now, my mom doesn't listen to the show, so I can say that it is different when she is around. but that's something that's a trigger for me. And I'm going to have to, that's something that I have to figure out how to work through.
Yeah, I love that. Super common. Totally understand also. And
it's not her. It's just like, she's wonderful. Yeah. She's wonderful. But that's what I did with her. We would drink.
Yeah, that's what I did with my mom as well. So I totally understand. When I started Ditch the Drink, she was my first student in my first class. So
really?
Yeah,
really?
So we're growing and changing together. Yeah. Yeah. But it was in my whole family. Raised in Wisconsin. I mean, everyone would hand you a drink. It's a welcome. It's a sign of love. It's a love language. Let me get you a drink. Let's drink. And it was a great way to deal with all of our nerves about being with our family.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So you will feel triggered because you're paying attention and because you're not numbing yourself. Alcohol is also like an anesthetic. It's a sedative. It's putting you to sleep. It slows your brain, which feels like relief, but it's numbing you. It's a numbing agent, and it's dumbing you down, And so the work of being alcohol free is paying attention. And I always say sobriety for me just means paying attention. I'm just living like totally awake in my life and seeing what's happening and not avoiding it, even going directly to the pain, so like, this bothers me. Oh, this bothers me so much. It makes me itchy in my own skin. Yes. And I have to figure out how to deal with that. I don't pour alcohol on that. I found other ways to cope with that. All the ways I feel, all the discomfort I feel being human, right? So it lets you pay attention to yourself, and you start a new inner dialogue with yourself, right? Instead of tuning out, you start tuning in, and taking care of yourself becomes priority. And you are so disciplined in so many ways, like with your working out and your schedule and stuff like that. It's like discipline gives you maybe not what you want right now, but what you want most. And it's the same with alcohol. Yeah, of course you want a glass of wine right now, right? But if you don't, you also know what you want most is to feel good in your body, mentally, emotionally, physically. So you can turn that down, which gets easier over time, by the way. Like, I think the first 30 days is hard, like I said, to turn down a drink and to say no and to do something different, or to go out with people, or to order a different drink, or to tell somebody I'm not drinking right now. When you don't wait, are you sober now? I don't know. I don't have language for it. I'm just trying not to drink right now. I don't know where this will lead me. I don't have the answers to the questions, but I'm exploring. That's all hard. That's all hard to talk about, and that's hard to live. But when you get beyond that, it's like it becomes more effortless, and then the benefits really, really, really multiply. So eventually, just like with cigarettes, right? The benefits are, they just multiply over time. Your sleep gets so much better. Anxiety, depression, gone. For me,
Yeah.
anyways, for most of my clients, right? If not, you can get diagnosed and get on medication that makes sense for you, and you're not messing with alcohol that isn't changing anything. Like, you can actually learn how to take care of yourself because you have a baseline to measure from,
Mm-hmm.
and losing weight, all those empty calories, and just not even losing weight, but like improved strength in your body, health, overall
Yeah.
health, lab work, cholesterol, blood pressure, the whole thing, right? I mean, my clients report their blood work coming back miraculously 100 times better.
Yeah.
Even after 30 days, even more after 90, even more after a year and beyond.
When you first stopped, what was the hardest part for you? But then when did you start to like see the benefits of it? Like, when were you in a headspace that you were like, oh, this is good?
So I stopped many times.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
I want to talk about that too. If you have a slip, keep exploring it. There's nothing wrong. You get to keep going. Nobody does this perfectly. I quit many, many times. But my biggest fear about quitting, my entire identity was alcohol, Heather. I grew up in Wisconsin. Our baseball team is named after beer. Like beer, like alcohol was included in every single social situation. The only people that didn't drink were alcoholics because they couldn't.
Right.
So their hand was slapped and they were in big trouble, and now they could never drink. And what stopped me was I didn't want to be an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And as long as I kept drinking, then I wasn't, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, I was a party girl. I met my husband in a bar. My parents met in a beer tent. Like, I was made for this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love to dance, and I love to socialize. I love music, and I love to play cards and all that stuff. So I loved that party girl lifestyle, or so I thought. So thinking about letting it go meant letting go of a huge part of myself, me, my identity, and relationships, right?
Yeah.
That I had 40-year friendships that we had our first drinks together, and so I didn't know how that was going to change. And when you change, your relationships have to change, right?
Yeah.
And some
Right.
of them
Yeah.
some of them don't. But the fear of that, the fear of all of that is what kept me drinking for a long time. My first real experiment, because every Monday I said I quit until Thursday, right?
Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. Yes.
So my first, okay, I'm going to try something, and like a sober experiment. I wanted to do a 100-day challenge. And I remember at day 70, I was sure that I was cured and I would be a moderate drinker now, and it was no problem. So of course I went back to drinking. What I remember was how when my head hit the pillow at night, I felt better about myself.
Mm-hmm.
When I was drinking or a little bit boozy, and actually I used wine as a nightcap to put me out a little bit because I was scared to lay with my own thoughts, and what came first, the anxiety or the alcohol? I don't know, because they were kind of entwined, but I didn't want to lay with my thoughts, and I didn't know how to put myself to bed, and having a glass of wine did that. I didn't know how to deal with my big emotions, tampering that down with pouring a little wine on that. I thought wine was my helper for a long time, but I didn't feel aligned. I didn't feel right. And then waking up, I would basically punch myself in the face every day to start the day. Like, you drank last night. You said you wouldn't. You had more than you thought. Or what did you do? How much? Go downstairs and see how much is left of that bottle, right? And just starting the day on the defense is a terrible way to start how do you expect yourself to live a big, bold, beautiful life when the first thing you do is say, what did you do wrong? Or you didn't keep your promise, or I hate you. I started every day I went to bed hating myself, and I woke up hating myself. That's the biggest change. Was when I quit drinking, I put myself to bed lovingly, and I woke myself up lovingly. That started to light a path to change. Tuning in, paying attention, taking care of myself. Instead of having a drink, saying, what do you feel? And what do you need?
Yeah.
And then answering that call with something that wasn't alcohol.
How can I love myself better in this moment?
Yeah. Yeah. And if you have slipped, you do slip, that's the moment of change, I always say. Yeah. We're good at beating ourselves up. And if beating ourselves up over this worked, more rigid rules, stricter, everything we've tried, right? In that moment, in that slip up, say, how do I treat myself with compassion right now?
Mm-hmm.
What would somebody that loves me say? And I think that's where the change happens. Not if you're going to have a drink or not, but like if you had a drink, change the pattern. Change the pattern right there. And a lot of drinking is pattern habitual. You just go for the glass. It's the end of the day. You go for the glass because you're making dinner. You order because it's on the menu, right? You always split this bottle. It's tradition. It's nostalgia. It's, whatever it is. It's my husband's and my thing, but it doesn't have to be.
So I would have a drink and then I wouldn't drive. I wouldn't drive the rest of the night. Like I just did, cause I just didn't feel right. And like whether it affected me or not, I wouldn't get behind the wheel. So, that meant that if my kids had to go somewhere, they had to find a ride. Somebody else in my house had to drive them. I have a lot of drivers in my house and they all have cars. So they are fully capable. But my son, he had a transportation issue and he called at like 9:30 at night and he was like, I need you to pick me up. And I was like, no problem. And I jumped in the car and went to go pick him up. And it wasn't even a consideration. Like I didn't have to think like, how long ago did I have a glass of wine? Like I was just able to get in the car and go. And like, it sounds so stupid and it's almost like embarrassing to say out loud because it's like, of course you should be able to go pick your kids up from wherever they are, but that was a huge thing for me. That was huge.
Such a victory lap. That is such a victory lap. That's one of my main ones too. I got a call in the middle of the night and I could go. And my kid was crying. I'm so sorry. I wake you up, this or that. And I was like, are you kidding me, child? This is what I've been training for. I said, this is what I've been training for 5 years for. And now I can do this. I can be here. But what that really means, Heather, is you were living in alignment with your values. And if you had too much to drink that you wouldn't have been a safe ride at that point, that's an outlier for you. That is out of alignment with your value system, I'm guessing, in parenting and health and, responsibility or whatever. Not that parents aren't allowed to go have drinks sometimes, of course, to each their own, right? But you want to be capable and safe to do that. And you were. So you got to live in alignment. And I think a hard part about drinking is the war that we have within. It's this inner conflict of like, I want to drink, but I want to quit drinking. And I want to not drink so much, but right now I want to have this drink. Like, I'm going to have this drink and then I'm going to quit drinking, right? Like it's so, you're at war within, and then it takes up so much headspace. So whether or not how long it takes to detox your liver or what it's doing to your kidneys, okay, whatever. Just the headspace of, it's 3:00. Can I have a drink? It's 4:00. Can I have a drink? It's 5:00. Can I have a drink? It's 6:00. Should I have a drink? Is the carpool done? Does somebody have a ride? Can I start now? Should I have more? This bottle's almost empty. Does that count? Now I'll finish this and then a little bit more. I'll have one before dinner and then I'll have one at dinner. And then what about after? And then in the morning, do I need an aspirin? Should I get some electrolytes? Like I have this, should I clean out the recyclables? How I have a whole routine. And then after work, should I get more? Should I open that box? Should I, it's just the headspace around it, all that time and energy that you could be thinking about something else.
You could be building something.
Yeah. It just kind of hijacks your thoughts. And we're all too good for that. All of us are better than that,
Yes. Yeah, it's rough. And that's exactly where I was. It was like, because I would have a glass when I was making dinner. So it was like 3:00 would hit and I'd be like, oh, we're getting there. And then 4:00 would hit and I'd be like, is it time to start cooking yet? Because if the second I started cooking, I would pour a glass. That was my cue. That was my cue. We talked about triggers very briefly. What are some tools to work through a trigger? What does that look like? Yeah.
So if you are just starting out, let's say, I would suggest some things. I would say out of sight, out of mind. So I would I would dump the alcohol down the drain. Okay. If you can't do that, I would remove it. I would move it somewhere else. Can you put it in a basement, in a garage? Can you give it to a friend? One, it might not be that valuable. You think it is, but now that you know that it's a carcinogen, it might not be that valuable. So if you can get rid of it, get rid of it. You can write a goodbye letter. You can pour it down the drain to your favorite song. You can make this a whole ritual kind of thing if you want. But either way, change your environment. So don't have that same glass of wine in that same cupboard and that same bottle sitting there, if that's your thing, sitting in that chair, doing that routine. Just change it around. So out of sight, out of mind with the alcohol. And then, do you need a different glass? Do you need to move your glass to a different cupboard? And do you need to move your chair to the other side of the room or something? Is there something, or do you need to sit in a new spot? Can you go sit on the porch or the patio or your bedroom? Don't do your regular routine. Switch that up. Do you need something to drink? If you do, find a really fabulous alcohol-free drink. And that could be anything from sparkling water to alcohol-free wine, depending on what you want. If you want recommendations, I have them. There's a million bad drinks out there. I agree, but there's also some really incredible ones. So a new drink. But if you drink wine while you're making dinner, don't make dinner. Do something else if you want. Or like you did, make fancier dinner that makes you pay more attention. Get more excited about the whipped ricotta that you're making than the drink you're pouring. Some people like to go for a walk. I call it a stomp around the block. That helps a lot. Cravings only last for a short time, right? So you can stomp around the block. I filled myself with information. So I read Quit Lit books. I listened to podcasts. I just immersed myself. So by osmosis, I would stop wanting to drink because I was learning so much about it. So there's lots of podcasts, this one included, to listen to. So I think fill yourself with that and then romanticize your life, your happy, healthy, alcohol-free life. What does that look like? What do you really want? Right? So go for that. Puzzling or crafting or painting or doing something with your hands can be very helpful if you feel like you need to be busy at night. Maybe getting out of the house, go to the gym, go shop home goods, go thrifting, go for a walk in the woods with your friend, I would say just get out of disrupt your pattern, disrupt your habits with something that you like and want. And we all have things we like and want that we're not doing because we're drinking, right?
Yeah.
Because we're just coming to this old familiar. So those would be first things. I love to journal your thoughts, your ideas, how you're feeling. You can keep track of that. Join a group, tons of good groups out there, people to talk about it with who are going through the same thing. I think that's really incredible. Or a coach led where you're actually learning what it's doing to your body and that your feelings are normal and that we have dips. You might be feeling flat. Okay, good enough. I did this for 3 weeks. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Somebody would say really, what would it bring you if you brought back? So I think getting some support and meeting some other people that are on a like-minded journey can be really helpful. Recording your thoughts. Meditation changed my life. I was meditating when I was still drinking. That's the one thing I committed to was even if I was passing out, I was putting in headphones with a meditation. And I feel like my conscious and my unconscious started to get on the same page. So even though I was still drinking, I was just starting to build this relationship with myself, my own breath, being with myself, which had always made me twitchy my whole life, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So once I had a relationship with myself and I decided to listen to the things I had to say, that became very helpful. So yeah, friends, drinks, different routines, get rid of alcohol, romanticize your life. Those would be beginner tips.
I love the romanticize your life tip because it's true. Because think of the thing, and it sounds so silly. It sounds so silly, but the amount of mental space that takes up is significant. Leading up to, during, and then after. I like that one.
Oh, get a massage, get your nails done. My whole tagline is spoil yourself sober, by the way. This is not deprivation and this is not a sad life. And if it was, I wouldn't be here. I guarantee it. So my life had to become significantly better when I ditched the drink. And it has. I've been on the most amazing vacations. I've been front row to the most amazing concerts, sporting events, you name it, hiking the top of these mountains. I've been to Africa and back. I am living my dream come true now. Alcohol was getting in the way of everything I wanted. Yeah. Alcohol was stopping me mostly because of my own confidence, right?
Right.
And now that it's gone, it was the number one obstacle to living the life of my dreams. And that's probably true for most of us. Like I said, even if it's in a mild way, it's still not good enough for you, to have this hurdle, this thing that's holding you back from the things you really want. If you quit drinking, your confidence will grow, even for a period of time. Give it a try. I recommend 100 days, which sounds impossible, I'm sure. And remember, I only got to 70 at my first try, and now I'm 9 years alcohol free. So you get to keep exploring. You get to stay curious, but I think go 100 days, because after 30, it starts to feel better and it's not as hard to do. So you start to get a glimpse of, like, a life of sobriety doesn't look like the first day sober. The first 30 days is just hard. Mostly hard, with some highlights, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 weeks was pretty easy for me. The first like 10 days was pretty easy for me, and then something happened. You know what happened? I got like cocky almost. I was like, I can have one glass. Like, what's one glass of wine? Like, one glass of wine in 30 days isn't a big deal. But it is, because I feel like shit. Like that. Like, that's me. Like, not remembering all of the reasons I wanted to stop anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I just
start negotiating with yourself, right?
I did. Yeah. It's just one drink. What's the big deal? But then the big deal is then, like, I still don't feel good. And then I know how that plays out. Then I'll open one of those bottles back there.
Yeah.
And I'll, like one night will turn into 2 nights, will turn into 3 nights. It's a slippery slope we walk with, with all of this.
You started the podcast asking me, what are the benefits to, like, Dry July, let's say?
Yeah.
So I want to throw that back to you and say, you tell me, because you're so close to it, right? Because you're doing it. What are the benefits?
Well,
you pick up your kid at 9 o'clock.
So I can get in bed. I get in bed and I feel clear-headed. That's honestly like one of the biggest things. Like, I hate feeling like foggy. Even if I wasn't drunk, I never really got drunk. I just was like kind of like buzzy, like kind of would just feel foggy. I don't feel foggy. And I like that feeling. So I have dark circles, but they were like, my eyes were like raccoon eyes for a while. Like, the amount of makeup that I would have to put on to try to, like, normalize. I don't need to do that. Like, that was pretty early on. The other thing is, like, I work out a lot, and my workout clothes don't hide anything. We'll say I was inflamed. And so after the first couple days of, like, not drinking, like, a lot of that, like inflammation started to reduce, because then I was also making better nutrition choices. Like, I was eating the foods that are good, that, like, feel good in my body, and I know feel good in my body, rather than having a glass of wine and eating a bag of Tostitos. You know what I mean? So, like, it's just kind of like the snowball effect of the decisions that I was making. And I don't have the headaches.
Yeah. And you feel good about yourself. You're aligned.
Yes.
You're proud. Yeah.
Yeah. It feels good. It's hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, there's definitely been a couple nights where I'm like, fuck it.
You do.
It's been a really rough day.
Yeah. And you used it as a reward, probably.
Do you know what? One night I had one of those nights. I just had, like, a day from hell. And so I think I posted, and then I was like, I'm going to go on a hike. And that was the night that man at the park was the weird note. Like, I had this weird interaction with this man, but that's why I went to the park. Cause I was like, I need to get out of here. I can't walk on my normal route. I need, like, around my neighborhood. I was like, I need to be in the woods. And that's where that came from, because I was struggling. Yeah. It was such a bad day. Now, fortunately, when I got home, I didn't want a glass of wine, because I was so stressed out, and I was on the phone with the police. And by the time we were done with all that, it was fine.
Yeah.
It's a process.
Yeah. You needed to get out of your house, though.
I needed to get out of my house.
You needed physical activity, maybe.
Yeah.
You needed time and space to process whatever had happened that day.
Yeah.
Or you maybe needed to turn your brain off.
All of the above.
Yeah, and same. But I was thinking, I was in yoga the other night, and I was like, this is where I don't think. Like, I'm focused so hard on nailing my poses, and I'm competitive, so I want to be the best. I want to get noticed. I want a round of applause. You know what I mean? I'm trying. I want to be.
I can appreciate that. Yes.
You know what I mean? I cannot focus on anything but what I'm doing right here, right now.
Yeah.
And then I go sit in the sauna or whatever. Well, so actually, when I first quit drinking, I went to a therapist, and I went to somebody with experience in substance use. And I said, I think I'm drinking too much. And she said, no, you're not. You just have anxiety. And she put me on anxiety meds and said I could keep drinking. So then I drank. I was like, this is great news. A professional told me no drinking problem, just anxiety. I take these meds. Well, the meds mixed with the alcohol turned into a disaster for me.
Yeah, right.
But what I needed is to not, I have a very busy mind and most of us do, right? So I needed to not think sometimes. So I needed to find ways like meditation, like yoga, or for me, running. Like it's so hard. Like I can't think about anything but I hurt.
Yeah, right.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Running's the worst.
Just time, ways to turn your brain off. Puzzling is great for that. I mean, how wonderfully boring that is for me. So soothing to just put pieces together, listening to music and teaching myself how to relax, teaching myself what to do in the evenings, teaching myself to be with myself, even though I'm trying to distract myself from myself all the damn time. Yeah. So it just really solidified a relationship with myself. So yeah, and you still have those needs. There's just another way to meet them.
Yeah.
It's just alcohol isn't the only answer. And alcohol then that was meant to be the solution for a bad day becomes the problem.
Yeah.
It's like now alcohol's the main problem because it's the thing I'm thinking about all the time.
Yeah.
And it's not just when I'm drinking. It's at 1 o'clock. I'm thinking, can I stop at 3 o'clock?
Yes.
I know. And when I wake
Mm-hmm.
up, I know you wake up ungodly early. At 4 o'clock, you're already like, how much of a headache do I have today? So yeah, it takes a lot of time and energy to drink. And it's hard to be a drinker and it's hard to be alcohol free too. But it's like choose your hard, one of those things, right? And the outcomes and the results of not drinking are so much better, especially at this age for us. Alcohol in women at this age, the hormones, the whole thing, it doesn't mix. Like I just turned 50 this year and I feel like 50, I just read something like is a point where like you're young enough to do something about it, right? Life has happened to you, but you're young enough to still take control of your health so that second half can look better.
Yeah. So if someone listening to this is deciding that they're ready to start trying, what is one thing that you would want them to walk away from this with?
First of all, go to my website, ditchtodrink.com, and download I have a private podcast called Permission to Pause. There's 5 short episodes. Just listen. And it's private, so nobody knows you're listening. This isn't going to show up on your social feeds or anything like that. Just listen and see what resonates with you. Stay curious. Keep pulling that thread, right? And don't be hard on yourself. And you don't have to black and white it. Like I love what you said. If somebody's interested in start to try something, try new, try different, add in more support, see what works for you. Let yourself practice and let it be an experiment. I think if we don't think we can do something perfectly, we just don't even want to start at all.
Yeah.
So that's a big hurdle. It's like you are allowed to explore. You don't have to decide forever. This doesn't have to be black and white. And you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know if you want to quit drinking forever if you've never even quit for 30 days. Right? Let 30-day person decide if she wants to go for 60. Let 60-day person decide if she wants to go for 100. Once you're at 100, decide. I think I've told you. I had a client who made a year and she's like, now what? And I'm like, what do you want to do? She goes, well, I already did a year. Maybe I'll just do one more. And I said, sure. So she goes 2 years. She's like, guess what? I never want to drink again. That's so far in my background. That's so funny. I freaked out after year 1, because over time, you change over time. So let yourself change over time. I'm saying let future you decide what you want to do, but explore, practice, give it a try and get some help and support. It makes it much better. I'm not saying you can't do it without support, but it makes it much better.
Yeah, it definitely does. I will attest to that. I stopped for 2 years before, and I don't know why I started again. But then this time, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, keep learning, stay curious. That's what I would say.
Heather, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you. And if anybody wants to find Heather, we're going to link Instagram and websites in the show notes, and then, as always, reach out if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having this conversation. Right. And congrats on your dry July experiment yourself.
Oh, well, yeah, thank you. All right.
See you soon, guys.
Well, all right, guys, we'll talk soon. That's it for this episode. If you had fun, learned something, or just feel a little less alone in the chaos, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you want to keep the conversation going, come find me on Instagram at HeatherMoves_, because midlife is way more fun when we do it together. Until next time, keep moving forward, or at least keep moving. See ya.